Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sauradeep Sarkar, your host for today's webinar. It gives me immense pleasure welcoming you all to the live webinar on the theme of Flash Storage Accelerates Your Business Without Compromise. This webinar is hosted by Cybermedia Research in association with IBM. For the duration of presentation, all participants' line will be in listen-only mode. After the presentation, we'll be having a question-and-answer session. So if you wish to ask any question, you may use the chat facility to send your questions to all panelists. Your feedback is very important for us, so kindly submit your feedback at the end of the webinar. I would like to now hand over the floor to Mr. Anil Chopra, VP Research and Consulting from CMR, who will share his insights on planning a transition to flash storage. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sauradeep, and a very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for sparing time to joining us on this webinar on how flash storage can actually accelerate your business without any compromise. And I want to spend a few minutes on basically, to give an overview of what's really happening in the storage market and why it really flash matters today and how it's going to become increasingly important for every business tomorrow. See, I think one clear trend that most organizations, that we see is that enterprise storage is not really just meant for simply storing the data. Like the basic file servers that we used to have in the past, and we used to just store data and then back them up on tape storage. So that trend is no longer really there. Okay, in today's digital age, where customers are actually interacting with organizations across multiple delivery channels. So they will obviously expect faster response when they're interacting. Okay, and when they're actually interacting and expecting a faster response, the company would also want to be able to use those responses to apply analytics on all those responses and all those interactions, and in order to gain meaningful business insight. And the one key thing required over here, obviously there will be many others as well, is to make sure that the data that they share and the that is stored can be accessed quickly and it can be processed quickly. So that's where really the need for a flash storage kind of comes in and becomes really, really important, because traditional storage may not be able to handle this kind of a requirement, which is quick data access and quick processing. And obviously the traditional storage, which is spindle-based, may not be able to handle this kind of a demanding workload, and that is perhaps why, globally we are seeing flash storage adoption increasing much faster as compared to traditional storage, the traditional storage. So that's obviously a clear implication that flash storage has a very significant place, role to play today in every organization's infrastructure. So, but is flash really the answer? Now, if we look at the benefits, I think some of the benefits are fairly well known, because flash is nothing new. It has been there for quite some time, right? Some of the well-known benefits on far better performance as compared to traditional storage. They consume lesser space, they consume lesser power, they generate lesser heat, and that actually helps you save costs as far as data center power, cooling, and space costs are concerned. There are secondary benefits, like you require fewer application servers, lower software licensing, reduced administrative overheads. So all those benefits, I think, are already well known when it comes to flash storage. But I think one key thing that is a requirement today, which is where flash actually helps, is that it helps you innovate faster. And if you're looking at a business transformation with the help of IT, which is also, we can call it as digital transformation. So that is again where flash actually comes in. And to really give an example of that, I think if we really compare how storage was used in the past versus how it's used today, will really actually, I think, make it clear, and I'm sure that, that is, a clear-cut case for flash. See, in the past, we would store data, and when it was first created, that was the time that was most important for us, and that is the time we needed high-speed storage for creation of that data, because that was critical. But as the time passed, over a period of time, the relevance of this data would become less important, and it would move down to slower storage, space, storage technologies, eventually to land up in tape drives for archival. But I think if you look at the scenario today, in a digital enterprise, there is a constant iterative process, that is happening for data creation, for processing, for analysis, for sharing. And the situation is actually reverse of a traditional enterprise. For example, today with so many, suppose it's a manufacturing organization which is using IoT, then there could be a lot of data being created, from the IoT devices, and the customers might be interacting on social media. So there is a lot of data that is being created which may not really be extremely important initially, but over a period of time, the importance of that data increases because that's when you really need it. That's when you really want to be able to analyze it further, to analyze, to understand what's happening, to gain insights. So Flash actually becomes more important because you need something that is fast, that is responsive, and that can actually help you. It becomes a basic prerequisite for any enterprise because you want to be able to analyze all that data that is being churned out. Okay, so I think that is where the key benefit of Flash actually comes in, which is where obviously the use cases also kind of expand for a Flash storage. Obviously, for big data and analytics, that's one clear-cut use case. Because you're generating a lot more data than what was being generated earlier, it is generated over multiple channels, whether it's customers, whether it's IoT devices or various sensors. So there's a whole lot of data that is being generated. You want to be able to capture it and analyze it quickly to be able to take the relevant decisions. For transactional workloads, maybe in the banking domain, if there's a lot of transactions happening, you will need high-speed storage to be able to do those transactions. In some cases, there might be large archives which require to be accessed more frequently. So that could be another use case for Flash. Traditional may not be able to respond fast enough. And of course, if you're providing online search facility, because I think every business today is going online, and you want the fast response time for customers. So again, that becomes a case for Flash. And likewise, when you look at in-memory computing is becoming hot. For example, I think with SAP HANA and various applications which use in-memory computing, Flash storage kind of an environment really, again, helps. So I think the number of use cases for Flash have gone up. The digital businesses, the requirement for a business to go digital, is increasing, and that is really happening. So, which is where the storage also has to become more diversified. You need to be able to, have storage that can cater to different requirements in the organization. So, I think it's critical to consider Flash from that point of view and understand what your current storage challenges are and whether the traditional storage is sufficient to cater to your need or not. And then figure out what are your current and future workloads, because chances are that in the future, as the customer becomes more demanding or as you get more devices implemented, possibly there might be a requirement for Flash storage. So I think look at your primary concerns. Are you looking at performance? Are you looking at capacity? Are you looking at both, or is just a cost factor? I think those things really matter when it comes to choosing the type of storage. And based on that, you can actually decide whether it's an all-flash that you need, or it's a hybrid, or is it just a traditional storage that will do. Evaluating Flash can also be based on not just cost per GB, but it can also be cost per IOPS, the number of IOPS that a Flash storage can actually churn out. That actually also determines the requirement. For example, if Flash storage costs more, but it also delivers very high IOPS, then its cost per IOPS might actually be lower than that of a traditional disk that costs less, but its IOPS are also comparatively lower. So that, I think, matters. And so besides performance, I think, you can look at other feature sets as well that are there offered by, various service providers or vendors for Flash. I think, looking at data compression possibly to optimize storage capacity. So look at various other parameters as well while considering a Flash-based solution. So I think Flash is the need of the day as well as, and is going to gain prominence moving forward. So I think it's time to actually start considering what sort of workloads you have and how it can be actually incorporated in the IT infrastructure. Because in a digital business, when you're looking at, you need speed, and with Flash that can actually possibly give you speed besides, of course, other aspects of the IT infrastructure. So that, I think, was a real message I wanted to bring to you. and I'll end my presentation over here. Thank you so much for listening. And before I hand it over to the next speaker, we're going to run a quick poll on Flash. And after that, I'll hand it over to Jaswinder Singh Saini to take you through more in-depth information about the IBM Flash arrays and some of the performance aspects of that. So Sauradeep, can I request you to run the poll? Thank you. So I hope you're able to see the poll question in front of you. The question is, what would be the driving factor for infrastructure upgrade in your setup? Is it low latency? Is it high IOPS? Is it throughput? Or is it all of the above? So now you have about 30 seconds left to respond to this poll question. Time's up, and the responses are there in front of us. Majority of the people have responded as all of the above. So low latency, high IOPS, and throughput are all important and the driving factors in this case. Of course, the many people who have not answered, I believe they have logged in from the phone, so possibly they have not really been able to participate in that. So with that, we'll move to the next presentation, which is about IBM storage and all flash arrays, and I'd like to now hand it over to Jaswinder Singh Saini, the storage solution architect, STG Lab Services at IBM. So over to you, Jaswinder.
Thanks, Anil. Hi, everyone. So let's like to give you a brief overview of what we're going to discuss today. So we're going to discuss about the IBM Spectrum storage portfolio. So IBM storage has been in the market for a long time, but since past 3 years, IBM has prepared a specific portfolio for storage and divided the offerings into specific categories, with each one focusing on specific concerns and pain points of the customers. So we'll be discussing all that in detail. Then we'll be discussing how and why is flash important, and also what kind of offerings for the flash storage market does IBM cater to, and which offering would satisfy or would cater to which kind of customers. And of course, we'll also be discussing on what is the future trend, what is IBM Software Lab doing, what is the storage lab architect doing, what are we doing on a daily basis for meeting the future requirements, or what is the new trends in the market like AI or analytics and other things. So, just
sorry to interrupt, Mr. Saini. Can you just speak a little louder, please?
Sure. So, just to, is it okay now?
Better.
Are you able to hear me? Okay. So just to begin with, I'll just give you a brief overview of myself. I'm part of the STG Lab Services team. I'm a storage solution architect based out of Mumbai. I handle mostly banking, telecom, and manufacturing customers for Asia Pacific. We do design implementation, data center consolidation, migrations, and performance benchmarking for future workloads. And with this, let us start with the presentation. So to begin with, we just need to discuss about what is the current problem. So if you see on slide number 2, you'll see the current problem with the most CTOs are facing is that's the data. So since past couple of years, the traditional workload is no longer the trendsetter. The data or the the resource handling has been changed. So traditional workload, which can be configured or which can be categorized as structured and unstructured data, has the unstructured data part has been on a bigger move. Like initially there was only like 5% of unstructured data in the world, but now you have almost 30% of the unstructured data in the world, which you need in your infrastructure. And your BFSIs or your databases or your workloads or infrastructure that you have created and planned are not prepared to handle all these changes, in a very short period of time. So data itself has become a problem. It's become the newest resource for which the planning was never done. Like, analytics, AI or machine learning, or even, non-traditional databases, they were non-existent in probably 5 years from now. So the infrastructure, there's a great demand to upgrade or optimize the infrastructure accordingly. So today, the CTO has a bigger problem. He does not have access to the data he wants. He does not have access to the data he creates or he wants to view. So data itself has become a bigger problem for us, or handling the data has become a bigger problem for us. If you see the next slide, you see 90% of the world's data is created in the last 2 years. That's a huge, tremendous amount of resource that we are creating. So it is an even bigger problem to handle it, to process it, to monitor it, and even to get the data in the right format, right? So 80% of the world's data today is unstructured. Now, when we say unstructured, that means it could be in any format. You do not have a specific workload, specific block size, or a structure size to it. So, and your infrastructure is built to a very specific need. So, if your workload pattern changes, your infrastructure would not be able to handle it. And that is the difference between a traditional system and a non-traditional system. Now, looking at what is causing the changes and what is market doing to overcome this gap. So you see that the major shift in the market is cloud. We are very well aware of whether the cloud is available, be it IBM or be it Azure or be it AWS. There are many options available in the cloud. However, when it comes to performance-centric, the cloud is not yet there. You do not get very high performance, infrastructure in the public cloud domain yet. Probably it will come in a year or two. Then comes the flash. So from 2012, there was a very big, movement in the storage industry with the introduction of flash systems. Then some of the vendors were still selling most of the storage as flash, whereas the truth was that it was not a flash, it was just SSDs or a faster SSDs. The real flash comes with a flash card or with a flash core technology. And IBM has been proven as a world leader in flash core technology for past 3+ years now. If you refer to the Gartner's report as well, you will see that IBM is leading the flash technology for more than 3+ years now. So we'll take you, in the next slide, we'll take you through what exactly IBM has to offer when it comes to flash and why is it different from others. Then comes the software-defined storage. So software-defined storage was basically introduced to, to contemplate or to offer a variety to others. And basically it is for, giving you more features, more data-driven availability for the same storage that you are using. And we need to make sure that the storage that you're using should be, compatible with the growing trends with cloud and other things. So that is where we'll cover software-defined in the storage portfolio from IBM. Now, the next and the bigger question is, how do you take your clients to the future? How do you navigate your traditional storage, traditional infrastructure to the next level, to the next future? So we'll take you through the slides where we will show you what is IBM doing as a storage company to take you to the next level or transform or optimize your infrastructure. So if you see the next slide, so this is on the left-hand side, you have a diagram which shows you the traditional application workloads, right? So you will have your CPU resources, your power system, your x86 servers, and then you will have your traditional moving disk storage, which is built to a cost, built to a traditional workload pattern, probably the block size and the IOPS and, the capacity. Whereas the new generation application workload doesn't function that way. There are multiple applications, multiple VMs running on a single set of hardware. There is a shared infrastructure. You have shared storages, shared servers, shared resources, and the workload pattern keeps on changing. There's no traditional fixed block size or, pattern, be it read-write pattern or be it traditional, traditional block size pattern. It's all different. So your infrastructure is designed to handle tradition, but not designed to handle the new generation application workload. So we need a change we need to modernize and transform your infrastructure to the newer uptrends that are coming in, so that you don't see the slowness and you can keep up with the pace at which the industry is growing. Now, what are the challenges when we face in the storage part? So one is the data at scale. That means the volume. Initially, we used to talk in GBs and we started talking in PBs, and now even 2 or 3 petabytes per rack is something that the industry is not satisfied with. The next generation of IBM storage is holding 2.5 petabytes per rack storage. And even still, we get complaints from the customer saying that that is not enough. We need to hold at least 5 to 10 petabytes per rack in the 42U size. So the volume has been changing a lot, and the data center side has not increased. So we're facing a big problem in volume. The second is the variety. Like I said, the structured and the non-structured data, the block size get changed, the read-write combinations have changed. So there's a very variety, that we have. The next is velocity. When we say that the velocity, it means that the data is in motion. It keeps on changing every time. When if you have come across SAP HANA or analytics, you'll come to know that the in-memory databases, the analytics, the AI machine learning part, they all are new workload patterns where the data is constant in motion. It's not in one section. It's not kept in one storage. It keeps on moving shapes. It keeps on updating the data, and also there is a separate section called as ingest data, where the faster upbeat or faster changing data has to be updated in the storage. So the storage has to be fast enough to keep in pace with the processor which is processing the database. And the last part is data uncertainty. Now, when we say to data uncertainty, it means that you are not sure, you cannot plan on what size or what structure the data would come in as. It may come in as FKB, it may come in as 2MB, it may come in as random, it may come in as sequential, it may come in as read-only, it may come in as write-only. You don't know it. It keeps on changing. So you need to be flexible with the infrastructure that you're creating. So these are the problem, and let's see how IBM would like to react to the problem. And the other problem is what is compute versus storage. So if you see the trend from last 20 years, last 2 decades, you would see that the CPU performance goes 10x, at least 10x every decade. If you go to power systems history, you will see we had Power 4, Power 5, and now we are into Power 8, and now Power 9 is going to launch in a couple of quarters, right? So there's a huge, gap that they have filled up. The speed has increased, the clock speed has increased, the resources have increased, the performance has gone up. Whereas we come up to storage, we don't see the same trend in the storage. The storage, there's probably 2 or 3 times, the speed has increased, but not 10 times. So there tends to be a gap between the processor speed as well as the storage speed. So the storage is meant to be slower, and because of the storage being slower, it becomes the bottleneck. How are you going to make sure that it does not become the problematic area for our infrastructure? So there's a need for moving it to flash. Now, with the help of the next example in slide number 9, I would explain you how do we make sure that the flash system would make things faster and easier for you. So let's take an example. So here's a time processor by the server CPU. So one system is running the regular SSD or traditional storage. The other system is running IBM flash systems. So the time taken by the server is 200 microseconds. Now the time taken by the array is 5,000 microseconds, or that's 5 milliseconds. And the time taken by flash system is 200 microseconds. Now, the server has to wait in the traditional storage because it cannot do additional, I/O until the first I/O is completed. Whereas the IBM's flash system is it has completed the I/O in 400 microseconds, so it is free to take the next I/Os. That means it has saved 50% of the CPU utilization. And what will you do with the extra time? You would fill in with more I/Os. So even though IOPS may not be your key criteria, but if low latency is your key criteria with performance and time saving, flash will do wonders for you. So a normal month-end batch processing which takes 8 hours could complete in probably an hour and a half. So you could say 6.5 hours in the batch processing, because you're processing more IOs in the same time. And of course, a flash system can go up to 1 million IOPS, which your normal storage will never be able to do. Hence, both IOPS and performance at a respectable cost would give you the higher edge, and you will be able to reap the benefits of flash storage. Now, moving to the next slide, let's see what IBM has to offer in specific with IBM flash systems. So you see the hardware accelerated I/O, right? So the difference between IBM flash and other flash are IBM flash has a hardware accelerated card, hardware accelerated architecture, and the others vendor they run on software accelerated I/O. So Texas Memory System was the first company that launched the hardware accelerated I/O, and they were the world leaders. And IBM bought Texas Memory System in 2012. And after that, IBM used their engineers and their scientists to advance the flash system technology even to another level. And after that, they launched the FS840 and FS900. That is the flash system 900 product that we have today. So the hardware itself is capable of delivering you 1 million plus IOPS. So you don't need to depend upon software for this, because by your experience, you can just understand if you depend on software can always go bad at any given point of time. Whereas if the hardware itself is capable of delivering, you don't need any additional software. So you are reducing the overhead and giving you better performance. So this is the basic difference between IBM Flash Core and the other industry standards. Now, additional advantage with IBM is shown in slide number 11. IBM has a variable strike rate. If you see the diagram, there's a chip there's a green color, there's a gray color chip. That is the one that's the flash hardware accelerated card. And it works on variable strike. That means in case of a failure, IBM flash array will bypass the block and move to the next block and will not stop or slow you down. That means if you have a 7+1 RAID 5, it would remove one flash card from it for temporary purpose and make it a 6+1 and move ahead to give you the same performance even if you have a flash card failure. And let me tell you that the flash card life is much better than your regular stack drive. So you will not see any, regular flash failures. The next is flash. IBM Flash comes with 2D RAID protection. So it comes with a VSR within the modules and 2D RAID across the modules. So you have double protections on your flash cards. In case this would help you to protect your data in case of a double faulted RAID groups. So your flash, IBM Flash comes with double protection when it comes to any kind of hardware failures. Now this happens only in IBM Flash. Now moving to the IBM All Flash portfolio. Till this time what we have covered is what is IBM Flash made all about. Now we'll cover with the Spectrum portfolio in what IBM has to offer. What are the varieties of IBM Flash that are available and why is the IBM Spectrum portfolio made that way? What kind of things that we can achieve using that. So let us go into deeper with that. So we'll spend more time on this slide. You see the IBM Flash System storage portfolio offering. To the left, you see the Spectrum virtualized software. So it's available as a software as well as a appliance. You see SVC, which is a very well-known, one of the highest selling products from IBM. And we also have the mid-range and small-range boxes, that is V5030F, V7000F, and V9000. So V5030 and V7000 are mid-range boxes with flash storage, and V9000 is SVC and Flash 900 combined together as an appliance. So that is for Spectrum Virtualize, which basically helps you in virtualization and cloud movement and disaster recovery, along with all the features like compression, thin provisioning, and serves your mid-range and high-range, requirements. Now, next moving to Spectrum Accelerate. Most of us will be aware of XIV. Now, Spectrum Accelerate software is based on XIV. It comes both as a software as well as an appliance. In appliance model, you have A9000 and A9000R, where A9000 stands for the smaller box with Flash 900 and x86 servers, and A9000R stands for the rack model. It comes with grid controllers. You can expand it up to 12 controllers and 6 flash systems, and it can go up to 2 million IOPS and 2.5 petabytes of storage capacity in one rack. Now, A9000R is also one of the fastest selling box in recent times, as it is cloud ready. It has all kinds of features, deduplication, compression, thin provisioning, and the best part, it gives you 1:5 SAN space saving. That means if you buy 100 TB, you'll be able to configure it for 500 TB. Moving to IBM Spectrum Scale. IBM Spectrum Scale is also available both as a software as well as an appliance. In appliance format, it is available in the format of Elastic Storage Server, ESS, and it is basically can be used for your NAS environments, for your file system environments, and this is due to majorly all the bigger research labs, all the bigger refineries, or unstructured data, or AI, machine learning. They all go up to IBM Spectrum Scale, which is the highest performing file system in the world. The biggest storage systems in the world, be it 1, 2, 3, whatever, the top 5 biggest storage system in the world, the highest throughput system in the world, are all built on IBM Spectrum Scale. The government projects that IBM caters to, most of them, they use IBM Spectrum Scale for the storage environment. Then comes the DS8000, which is built on the IBM Power Systems. This is our enterprise class box, which has been, a very well known for its stability throughout the years. It comes with 3-site and 4-site replication, and it comes with superior performance and reliability for all your critical workloads. So by this we'll see the flash system storage portfolio. Let's move on to what each one has in specific. Like I discussed before, 5030, 35000, 7000 would give you mid-range storage with flash, and V9000 is SVC with flash and system 900 combined together. This has flash core technology, and it is mainly catering to virtualization. If you want to virtualize other storage behind it, do disaster recovery, compression, thin provisioning, all those features, this is the go-to solution, IBM Spectrum Virtualize. Next comes the IBM Spectrum Accelerate. So here you have the A9000R. This is for high density, high SAN space savings, futuristic projects where you also require cloud readiness. So you can take backup to cloud because it is cloud ready. You can do transfer cloud peering. It is compatible with Swift. It is compatible with AWS. It is compatible with IBM Cloud. It is compatible with Azure. And you can have 1:5 SAN space saving, which is the benchmark in the industry nowadays. So this is one of for this reason, it's one of the highest selling boxes in IBM because it gives you maximum value for your money. And then comes the, let us take a closer look on how it is configured. So this is the Merinox infill band switches, and then you have the management module. Then you have the controllers, the control connectors, and you have two flash systems with two x86 servers. This is the minimum configuration that is available, but as it is the rack, you can fill it up with the expansion models. So this is how it looks. So in total, you have 12 controllers and 6 flash models. So this is the capacity. So the minimum will give you around 600 TB, and you can keep on expanding it, and it can go up to 1.8 terabytes. But the latest model is 2.2 petabyte with the latest firmware release as the disk size has increased, and 2.5 million IOPS. Now, so this is the overview of IBM Spectrum software defined. So a couple of more things. IBM Spectrum Control is a monitoring software that is available from IBM. Now, this will cater to all the monitoring requirements from you, historical performance monitoring, and all the snapshot, flash copy, all detailed reporting will be done by Spectrum Control. Spectrum Protect is your backup software, archiving software. It is also available as an appliance model. Cloud, IBM Copy Data Management is a software used for copy services, for flash copy, for clones, for snapshots, for disaster recovery. All can be done using one software as Cloud Copy Data Management. And IBM Cloud Object Storage, you have CleverSafe, where it is an offering from IBM. Including this, it completes the IBM Spectrum portfolio with software defined. Moving to the next is the DS8000, which is the enterprise class box. It is for mid-range and high range, where DS88, 84 is the smallest or the mid-range, and 88, 88 is the highest, which is around petabytes of storage with all flash. So with this, we come to an end with the IBM storage portfolio, and I've explained how flash system helps you. So it gives you more value for a buck, and with flash system as A9000, you will have 1:5 SAN space saving as well. And because of these features, more and more customers are going ahead with flash systems and replacing their traditional storage, because a traditional storage will give you 5 milliseconds, and a flash system will give you 200 microseconds. So it will be probably multiple times faster, and it is more, it will give you rack savings, power savings, and also data center space. And all these savings will contemplate for the price hike in the flash. And believe me, day by day, IBM flash systems are getting, or the flash technology in whole is getting cheaper, and it is more competitive day by day. With this, I would like to end my thing, and I believe we can move on to the next poll question. So over to you, the host.
Thank you very much, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, the poll is already up. I would request everyone to kindly submit your answers.
So the question is, what would be the best describe your current storage infrastructure? If you have SAS only, is it a mix of SAS and SAS? Do you use any SSDs, or is it a mixture of, or is it a hybrid? That's all of the above.
Okay, time's up. Can we have the results, please?
So it's time for question and answers. Please let us know what all questions you have. I believe the host can unmute the lines, if possible.
Yes, he will unmute. So the poll results have come in. I think the largest number goes to SSD and SAS, or all of the above. So that is the results of the poll. There was one question that I got from during the chat, which is Karthikeyan, from Karthikeyan. He wants to know what's the cost for this storage.
So the cost for the storage, have the exact cost as of today. Probably your IBM contact person could give you, but there is not a major difference between your traditional storage and flash. Like I said, flash is getting cheaper day by day. And remember, you don't need to buy the entire capacity. You can buy whatever. For example, if you require 500 terabytes, you only buy 100 or 150 or 200. And because of the SAN space saving or features, you can accumulate or provision 500 terabytes, and you can easily accommodate that. Because you like, for example, E9000 comes with deduplication, compression, thin provisioning. So whatever data you write, you will only be using a very fraction small capacity of it, and only after. It's an inline thing. It's an inline deduplication. So whatever you write, only probably 20% of that will be going to the disk. So you'll be saving a lot of space. The next question I see is, can I use my existing storage or buy on my interest? Yes, you can use your existing storage. So there you have an option in Spectrum Virtualize, where you can virtualize your storage behind SVC or behind V7000, and you have an option of using both your storage, your existing storage as well as your new storage together. You can also combine as a hybrid pool, where you can use flash for your critical workloads and non-flash for your regular workloads, or even do easy tier where the IBM storage would get a trend for you, which is more critical, which is more utilized, and then automatically move the more utilized data to the flash system, and the non-used data will come down to your regular disk automatically every 24 hours. So yes, the answer is yes, you can use your existing storage.
Okay, so we'll wait for some more questions on chat. Saurodeep, could you please check if anybody wants to ask a question on the audio bridge?
Sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, should you wish to ask any audio question, you may press 0 and 1 on your telephone keypad. Alternatively, you may send your questions using the chat panel. You can select all panelists from the drop-down and send your questions to us.
So I got a new question, that is, what will be the maximum cache supported by IBM V5010 storage? So V5010 comes with 8 and 16 GB of storage, so you can take 16 GB as the answer. However, a very important point in that is that when IBM says that IBM is providing 16 GB of cache, it does not mean that 16 GB is less. Do not go by the value, because IBM systems come with a patented cache management system. So let me give you a little in-depth in this, because other vendors will not tell you this. Let's take Example, EMC or Hitachi is giving you 100 GB of cache or 50 GB of cache. They will not be able to give you the same performance which we will be able to give you on 16 GB because the cache segment size or the cache track size, for every IO, there's a cache track size or a segment size that a storage vendor has to implement to use the cache in the effective way. Only IBM's storage system has the lowest track segment size, that is 4K. So every IO we will only use 4K, and we will clean the cache automatically because that is in our architecture, which is an IBM patented architecture. Any other storage vendor cannot use it because the lowest they can go is 32 or 16. 16 only one vendor can go, the rest will go to 32K. And their mid-range box can only go to 64, the smaller boxes. So even if they're getting bigger cache, they cannot give you performance guarantee, whereas IBM can give you performance guarantee even on 16 and 32 GB of cache. So,
okay, are there any questions on the audio bridge?
No questions on the audio. I would like to repeat, ladies and gentlemen, should you wish to ask any audio question, please press 01 on your telephone keypad.
Okay, we will wait for some time to see in case somebody wants to ask a question on the audio bridge. In the meantime, if there is anybody wanting to ask a question on chat, please do so now.
Till before the next question comes in, just like to highlight that, a couple of things that we are doing very recently. If most of you would be aware that IBM flash system is already being used by most of the banks and telecom industries, right? Like top 20, from top 20, the top 16, people in the banking environment are using IBM flash systems and IBM power systems. And in the telecom industry, from the top 4, the top 3 are using IBM flash systems for their critical application, including billing. So this gives you an idea that the reason why IBM is a leader in flash storage. So it has been a tremendous success for us for past 3+ years. And even with mid-range customers, with V7000, with V5030F, we are coming up with all flash systems, which is becoming a new trend now for moving up from traditional storage to flash storage.
Okay, so there is a question on whether storage replication is possible between the DS5020 and V5010.
A storage replication is not possible between DS5020 and V5010. So V5010 or anything that starts with V, it comes in a store-wise category. It has the software features of SVC, and the DS5020 is a standard storage that comes with, it's a entry-level box. It does not follow in the store-wise category. So store-wise box can replicate to store-wise, but cannot replicate to the DS series.
Okay, thank you for that.
So we have one question in the audio, and the person has not recorded the details.
But go ahead, please, put him on. Maybe he can...
Participant is joining from 83508-33009. Please state your name. Your line is unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
कॉन्फ्रेंस हम सुन नहीं सकते हैं, सिर्फ बोलने के लिए कुछ और कोड है. हेलो
Sir, I am not able to get your question. Could you please repeat?
Hello.
Yes,
hello,
sir.
Yes, please tell us your question. Hello, can you please tell us your question? We can hear you.
Hello.
Okay, I think there's another question in the meantime. Jaswinder, if you can see.
I think this is from Santosh Kulkarni. I can see that. So, sir, there is a difference between replication and migration. So, replication is not possible between these two boxes, but yes, migration is possible. So, migration is a very straightforward thing in V series. So, all you need to do is we need to virtualize the DS5020 behind V5000 and what do we say? With just a reboot of a server, we can plan things in a way. During the reboot of the server, we can move the zoning from the old storage to the new storage, and we can get the migration done. However, it's a complex process. I would request you to reach out to IBM so that we can share the steps with you officially. But yes, it can be done. Migration from DS5020 to V5010 or V5020 or 30 can be easily done. Migration for all storage products, be it V5000, 7000 or HPC, can be done easily.
So we have
what about migration? Now there is a question. What about migration time for 2 TB of data?
So considering, so the migration time depends upon how fast you want to move. But consider that if you want to take a downtime and move the data for 2 hours, if you have everything ready, all the prerequisite arrangements are made ready, then 2 TB of data will not take more than an hour and a half. It will take probably 90 minutes to migrate.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, I think we will end the session. We will check one last time if there's anybody on the audio bridge. If there's nobody, then we will call it the day. Could you please check, Sauradeep?
So we have a question from Delhi location participant who is joining from 9810-194-533. Please state your name. Your line is unmuted.
Yeah, this is VP Mahendru from Eon Electric Limited. Actually, can you send us the recording of the webinar and also the details of the equipment so for our review, please?
Anil, I believe you can help here.
Yes. So yes, we would be sharing a recording of the webinar after this is over so that you can review that. And by asking for more details for the, are you looking at product brochures for all these product range, or would the webinar recording only do?
No, along with the product brochures and its benefits and its advantages also.
Okay, so we will check with IBM on that. At recording we will share, and the other details we'll just check with IBM and revert to you on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes. Okay, are there any more questions on the audio bridge?
Yes, we have one more question.
Yeah.
Participant is joining from Pune location, whose number is ending with 72732. Please state your name. Your line is unmuted.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, go ahead.
I got my answer because I also had the same question asked by that fellow. But we need the recording and brochures for the product.
Okay, so fine. We'll anyways be sharing a recording for this is for with all the attendees. So we'll be sharing a recording of the same the webinar, and we will also work out how we can share the product brochures as well with you. I'm sure that IBM would be happy to provide those. So as soon as we get those, we'll share them with you.
Just a addition point I want to add. So IBM believes in transparency. All the product details are also available on the net, including all the technical red books, right? So we will be definitely sending you the details. However, if you want to check it on the web by yourself, we have it on the web, including the client success stories.
That's great. Maybe what we will do is we'll check out the URLs for those, and along with the recording, probably share the URLs. And they can probably access those, and in case there is any further requirement, that we can obviously direct to IBM to share with them. Okay, with that, I think we come to the end of today's webinar. Thank you very much for attending, and thank you for taking the session on storage. I hope you all found it useful. So immediately after you log off, you will get a feedback form that will pop up. So please do, submit your feedback to us. We hope you found it useful, and thank you so much once again. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chopra. Thank you, Mr. Sunny. Thank you, participants, for joining the session. Hope you all spent a useful time. With this, we conclude the session. You may all disconnect your lines now and do submit your feedback form. Thank you very much.